Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, you can catch us right here at 5 to 6 p.m. each and every day. Welcome in, welcome in. You know what we do here. We talk business, legal, social, whatever affects you in the community, we will talk about it. Welcome in, welcome in. Tell a friend to tell a friend that tell the truth and shame the devil is on the air. We are very grateful to have you in with us today as we continue on to do what we do each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here. I want you to come on and be a part, and know if you want to be a part of it, you can be a part of it by going to the comment page and leave your comments, and we'll talk about it. But you also can call this number 901-288-5779. Again, 901-288-5779. Feel free to give us a call. We hope all is well with you in this community. You have to be safe. We still got this controversy going on in this city. Some say we do, majority do. Say we need the security of the National Guard. Other, which is a few, say we don't need them. Those who have enough sense to realize that we have safer streets now, that the president, the heavy president of law enforcement as well as the National Guard, they saying we don't need it. You know, these clowns filed a lawsuit. And on yesterday, I listened to some of it. The judge heard both sides, and she would make a decision later on. And from time to time, I've seen judges do that. Instead of doing, giving you an answer, they will go back and do a little bit more research, get their law clerks to look into it a little deeper before they make a commitment. Well, I would say this. There are two ways to look at it. If the judge rules against the governor and the National Guards have to leave, and as a citizen, being one that wants the National Guards to be here to protect, just the threat of them being here has made these criminals slow down. They're not ripping and running up and down the street at night like they usually do, because the threat of the National Guard and the MPD and Sheriff's Department and Highway Patrol and all the ICE, along with the U.S. Marshals, are here. And just for a moment, or however long they're going to be here, you're looking at a situation where it is safe to a point. You can't count the domestic violence as a part of the crime in the streets of Memphis. Domestic violence usually happens in a home between a man and a woman, two men in this day and time, and two women, you know. You never know where it's coming from, because this whole country is crazy, in my opinion. The county is crazy. We got problems in the county, we got problems in the city. We just a problem city right now with no true leadership in this community. So if they go and file a lawsuit, and by chance the judge ruled in their favor, I would say to you, any one of the citizens in this community lose a loved one, you need to blame those individuals who filed the lawsuit if they win it. Because the president of the National Guard and this heavy law enforcement president is here. And for that reason, crime has slowed down. People are going to the grocery store. getting what they need to do, getting gas and no problem. They see the president. But if they are forced to leave, then on election day, these clowns who are running for county commission, we don't know what Lee Harris with his stupid self, don't know what he's gonna do, but he should never be able to occupy another political office in his life because he has proven to you that he's a buffoon. As the man said, acting like a woman. And he don't know which way, in my opinion, that's up or down as it relates to the leadership in this community. And I have a problem with Lee Harris and any other individual who have been perpetrating politically for the last almost 8 years. And I often say, you are to blame those who voted for him or anybody like him. What say you as it relates to the judge saying that the National Guards have to leave and somebody else end up being murdered that would have not gotten murdered if they had that presence still here? And I have a problem with anyone that think they're smarter than the people that put them in office. You do with over 80% of the survey. I think it was 85% of the people in this city said, we want that presence of the National Guard. We want that heavy presence of law enforcement, no matter what agency it is. And it goes back to something I said a while back. You have to look at the previous administrations in this city that have told you that crime is my top priority. Jim Strickland did it for 8 years, and crime was higher than it ever been. A.C. Warden, Willie Harrington, they talked about crime, but crime has risen every year and every day of those previous administration. But yet they got the money and they gone. They served and said help is on the way. Help never got here. Because if help was on the way, we wouldn't be in this situation we're in today. But they played with you. Each one of those administrations played with you. They got the money, they had the power, the prestige, and they left you hanging to the point that violence in this street was never truly addressed until now. And because of the fact that they're here and it's being addressed, you look at the numbers now, not the previous numbers that people was padding their numbers, in my opinion, to tell you that crime is down. They put down that crime is down, but now you actually see what is going on in this city, and crime is going down because this heavy presence of law enforcement agencies here. So I would say to you, in my opinion, that if they have to leave and crime go up, then it's the fault of these individuals or individuals like them that says that the National Guard and all of these other agencies need to go. Memphis, you know it, the number one most violent city in America, still holds that per capita. It is the most violent city, but yet what you put in office, these individuals that don't know up from down, don't know backward from forward, politically, when it comes to doing a job to protect and serve you, they just stay in office, they take your money and they share it as it relates to people getting businesses When you try to do one thing, they go and share the business and kind of lock down anybody in this community that think differently from you or from them. They try to lock it down. They only want people that think like them. And the reason we're in this shape is because people think like them, put them in office, and look at where we are. So I say to you again that if the judge rules against the citizens of Memphis and the governor what they want here, then those individuals should be held accountable for the lawsuit that they filed with your money against you. Have you ever thought about for a minute, just for a minute, the fact that these individuals are filing lawsuits against what you feel as citizens in this community? People will say all the time, I see them on television saying, yes, we feel comfortable now. Yes, there is some more work that needs to be done, but we can see the work that is being done now because we have that factor, that threat, as Mr. Jordan said on yesterday's program, that as long as that threat is out there, the crooks, the robbers, the murderers, the rate outside in the streets away from their home are going to go up. As long as the presence of that law enforcement factor that we have, the rate is going down. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to speak up, stand up. And I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to keep preaching this. I'm going to keep teaching this, telling you that you need to wake up. Now, what if 50,000 people out of this almost 600,000 citizens that we have in this community had just picked up the phone and said, Lee Harris, sit down. JB Smiley, sit down. Paul Young, sit down. You're trying to lead, but you're not leaders. Because look at what happened in the last 8 years of the administration of Lee Harris. What has he accomplished? What has he tried to do? Raise your wheel tax along with the county commission. That wheel tax is supposed to have been a one-time thing, and now it's been almost 40 years. It was another tax base that was created to tax you. And it's supposed to have been a one-time thing. But they saw how much money they can make off of you on the wheel tax. And what do? If a hospital is needed, what do? They want to raise the wheel tax. Because the wheel tax is a cash cow, as they say, for politicians to do what they want to do as opposed to what you want to do. You just think about the wheel tax. And some of us are paying over $200 for our tag. I remember going back, tags was $75. But now it's over 200 if you have a personalized tag. But it's all about taking your money out of your pocket. Government shouldn't be about taking money from you. It should be about helping you, and I believe that. Because the government is made up by the people and for the people. That's what the Constitution said. And I beg to ask all of these folks want to talk about the Constitution. Go into the Constitution and find out what it was designed to do and do what it asks. You sit here and try to talk about the Constitution and you violate it every which way you can. You pick and go through it and try to find something that fits your purpose. And people do that even with the Bible. they'll take it and pick it through it and find out, okay, well, it was in the year King Huzzah died. If you can make that fit unto what you want to do, then that's what you do. And that's what politicians, that's what they do. They go and try to find something that will fit them and convince you this is a great thing. See, it's not about having your name on a building. It's about saving lives, something you're supposed to do. See, if you was a strong sheriff, if you was a strong chief of police, if you was a strong leader, you would be like the sheriff down there in DeSoto. Stood back and told him point blank, and you don't see it. He said, Memphis, don't you come down here with that mess, cause we got something for you. And I bet you they ain't running down there in DeSoto, South Haven, and cutting up like they do in Memphis. The chief of police said the same thing over there in West Memphis. You come across this bridge with your mess, we got something for you. But we have never seen or heard of a strong force like that coming from the law enforcement that we have in the city of Memphis. They tap dance around, they come up with everything else, but you cannot show the force if you don't know how to be forceful. And sometimes in situations you have to fight fire with fire. And if you, and it's been said over and over again, often, if you don't break the law, you don't have to worry about being arrested. If you break the law, you're going to be arrested. But people think that people need to break the law and nothing should happen to it. I've been in law enforcement too long not to understand that the way you control the violence in this city is controlling the law and your obligation to do what the law said. But the first thing some of the citizens who are benefiting, and don't believe me, benefiting from the violence in this city, they hop and holler, oh, they're doing this, they're stopping people. If they're stopping you for a reason, probable cause, everybody hollering racial profiling. Why is it that they racial profiling? Are your windows too tinted beyond what the law said? I remember back in the day it was only 35%. But now you got limousine tint on your window and you driving around. To me, that's probable cause for them to stop you because your tint on your window is too dark. A law enforcement officer, and believe me, I know when you approach a window and they got limousine tint on it, you don't know what's about to happen. And but yet, you go out and legally get someone to tint your windows in your vehicle. That's called limousine tint. And you get mad because they stop you. And then when they stop you, then they smell, say, marijuana, or they smell alcohol. Then there's a whole nother opportunity you're giving them to arrest you. But you're going to cry and you're going to holler, they doing this, they're racial profiling. It's not racial profiling, some of it may be, but a lot of it is that you're giving them the opportunity to do what they need to do to arrest you. I hear some of you saying that it's too many people in the jail. Well, there wouldn't be too many people in the jail if you wasn't breaking the law. So what do you want them to do, law enforcement? What do you want them to do? When you break the law, do you want to just let them go on about their business? Because if they continue to go about their business, sooner or later, they're going to be in your business. And I say it often, and I continue to say it over and over again. When you have these people crying about the National Guard, the law enforcement, and all of that, they crying about it because it haven't happened to them yet. But if it happened to them, they'll be sick puppies. Why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? It happened to you because of what you've been protesting about. It may have happened to you because you saying we don't need the protection in this city. And I totally disagree with you. If you're going to be safe in this city, you got to fight fire with fire. And that's all I got to say about that. The overcrowding in the jail, I got reports that there's 200 people that's laying around in 201 Poplar. We had 2 recent deaths. We talked about that. And I asked the question, how many inmates are in the county jail? And they told me over 2,900, and it's more than 100 over the limit in the jail. If you're worried about the crowdedness in the jail, tell them bad kids of yours or grown folks in your house, stop breaking the law. Then it wouldn't be overcrowded. Then we wouldn't have death in that jail. That jail is awful. I remember the day we went into that jail. I think back in 81, 82. That jail, we used to call it the Glamour Slammer. And we went over there. Things ran great in that jail. You had people in there that was committed. You had deputy sheriffs. But then they came up with this thing about deputy jailers. And you didn't get the cream of the crop like you would have got as deputy sheriff. You end up with individuals who didn't have the power to arrest or do anything when the inmates act up. But when you had deputy sheriff, and most of all, throughout this country, if you go to any jail locally, as far as California, when I was in Fugitive, we went and picked up prisoners and brought them back. They had commissioned officers, didn't have deputy jailers. And God bless the deputy jailers who work in that jail. I understand the circumstances that they're working under because they don't have any power. You're trying to control the inmate and tell the inmate what to do, and that inmate know you have no power to arrest or do anything else to them. And if you do call somebody else in to write them up or arrest them up, you got to tell them in detail what they did. It's a problem with the leadership. And I will continue to say this until we wake up and realize that we have a problem. All we gonna get from these politicians is a mouth just run like water out of a sink and then doing nothing but running their mouth. They got this thing going around from church to church, community to community, saying come out and talk to them and they gonna tell you this. It's the same old song. It's just a different community that they singing it to. But until we wake up, like New Chicago did, and I commend them, to wake up, then we can stop this foolishness that we have in this community. People in that jail are packed in like sardines. And the leadership does not step out and tell you what's going on until it's too late. Or somebody else died. One life lost in a jail that's supposed to hold people to go to trial, end up dying before they get to trial. Now, is that fair? Is that right? But you keep electing people that don't have a clue. And you need to pay attention. Pay attention to all of these positions that's going to be coming up next year. And people are already getting together to run for these positions. But you got to ask the question, what are your qualifications for the office you're running for? And why are you in here and you have no experience to run for this office? And you'll say, well, you don't have to have experience. And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have anything in place that says, hey, you got to have some knowledge of the position you're running for. Now, keep in mind, you got many clerks, you got plenty of them that don't have a clue, but they depend on the people who put all of that time, the clerks in there for 30 years to show them. You tell me one individual in the last few clerks' offices that have had knowledge of that clerk's office before they got there. They just ran, you put them in, and this is why the criminal court is a mess. This is why other clerk's offices are a mess. They had no experience, but they were somewhere else, and you remember the name and you put them in office. I would ask the question, what is your experience in this office that you're running for? Well, I just decided because I'm 18 and I don't have a record, I can run. But that's not good enough. When we elect people, we put them in that office hopefully that they would do the right thing by way of the knowledge. How can you command a troop of people when you don't know what to do? That's like putting a general over soldiers and he don't know what to do. But that general came up through the ranks as an officer. He probably started out as a boot lieutenant, second lieutenant, worked his way all the way up the ladder to get to become a general. And that says to me, being a military individual, that says to me, that general has the experience and the know-how to command people. But when you take a person that has no experience and you put them over office to command people, that's what you get. You get a Tammy Sawyer. You get a Willie Brooks. You get a Burgess. All of these folks knew nothing about clerking other than being a county commissioner or being a school board member and got promoted to being a clerk. I know there's some stuff going on between the county mayor's office and the clerk's office would want to happen. Well, if you have been told that the county is supposed to pay a bill and the clerk is not supposed to pay the bill, but you're going to claim that she hadn't paid it when it clearly says that the county is responsible. Why are you even addressing that to the clerk's office? See, that's where you get people doing what they want to do to try to make other people look bad. Now, I'm not defending anyone. I'm just pointing this out to you. Common sense dictates that if you're told to do something, and if you've been given the money to do it, but you take the money and do something else with it, and when it came down to tags to be shipped out, they were never shipped out because you took the money to ship them out to do something else with. And that's facts. That's facts. But then you come back and try to say, hey, this person didn't do it when you was given the money to do it and you didn't do it. Y'all got to find out the true story about what is going on in this city in regard to politics. I'm Jennings Bernard. You're listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I want you to definitely do me a favor as always. I want you to subscribe to my Facebook page and to this show that we do. Subscribe to it. All of you all who listen and watch this program, and many of you are listening and watching, I want you to subscribe to it. Just go put at the bottom of this video, hit on the subscribe button and do it. And then when you get through with that, we got a wonderful website. It's called MemphisRealTalk.com. MemphisRealTalk.com. And you pull that up and you'll see what we are doing. We're working on it every day to improve it. And if you look at seeing what we're doing now, the things that you can look into, you get messages from me, from my desk on the website, my opinion. You got the news that is happening on here. We're going to have sports. We're going to have a store that we're working on to be able to put things on there for people to buy, to purchase. We're just doing it and blowing it up. Just go look at it, and while you're there, to help this program, to help it and be a part, there's a donation button. Hit the donation button, no matter how small, how large, whatever you're moved to do that, and we greatly appreciate you being a part of what we are trying to do here. And that is tell the truth and shame these devils. Until you get to the point that you want to shame these folks, these people that will not stop, because money is what they want. Power is what they want. Position is what they want. And you give it to them. And you don't get well-trained people to run the city or the county. You think about it. You look at the people. We don't want to talk about the school board and how messed up that is. And we got a thing coming. Suppose I'm waiting on the forensic audit. Now you tell me that what has happened in the previous administration and this one, you will find nepotism in this administration with Roger Richmond that's there now. Nepotism, favoritism, all of the tism. And then the previous administration, you'll find contracts. Had a public relation department, but you got two other public relation companies to get the taxpayers' money. Why? Because it's a good old boy network. I got mine. Now you get yours. And if that forensic audit come back a true forensic audit, somebody is going to jail. Because they played with the money and they shared the money with their friends. If the audit is done right, somebody is going to jail. And the only way that this stuff is going to stop, that corruption, because somebody has to go to jail, because if they don't, it will continue. But you have the power to stop it. Now we got almost $2 billion that they deal with as it relates to the children, and the children still cannot pass the basic skill test. Something wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. But what are you going to do about it? You got that opportunity to make a difference. And we want you to do that. I see a report, I'm looking at it, I'm trying to get in touch with the gentleman that put that out on the internet. About $200 million as it relates to some of it being used to trim the trees in Memphis, Tennessee. And as I was reading it, it lays out the fact that there has been money missing. And this report names some people in there that you know. See, somebody, when you look at that much money that have larceny in their heart, they're going to do what they got to do to get some of that. It's just that type of person who has larceny in their heart. And you'll see that individual on the reentry program got a pardon from the governor. Turned around, was appointed to the reentry program, and he did the same thing again. Because of what? He had larceny in his heart. Now he's standing in the court, had a court date the other day, looking stupid. I don't feel sorry for him. Most people never get a second chance, but you got a second chance and you blew it. Saw a report where a guy was arrested for beating a old woman. Whatever they do to you, you deserve it. You need to be in jail because you are a menace to society. You're a criminal. You have no respect for the elderly. You don't even respect yourself. See, sometimes you have to do what is necessary to stop this crime that's going on in this city. And when you elect people who are boys trying to do a man's job, you're going to continue to have what we have that's going on in this city. There's so many things that we can address and talk about. But I want to get this gentleman in here. Get in here and let him break it down as it relates to his report and his investigation. Now, if you take time and go pull the right information and you dig deep, you will find out a whole lot of things that were taking place in this city. If you take time to find out, if you take time to listen, if you take time to look, you will find out that there's a whole lot of undercover stuff that's going on politically in this city. And they're laughing at you because they're taking your money that you pay your taxes to the city, county, and the state, and they play with it. See, you never put a broke person in office. I still say I don't understand how you can go in office broke as Joe. Now you worth $10 million. Do anybody want a job like that? Can you go for 10 or 15 years and you go in broke as Joe, and then you turn around now you $10 million richer? Something wrong with that. No matter how you look at it, something is wrong with that, and you are the person that's at fault because you kept electing this person over and over again. How can he justify having $10 million over that period of time? How do you justify it? I would love to hear his justification. And I'm talking about the 9th Congressional District. You know who I'm talking about. You Google it, and that's what they say he's worth, between $6 to $10 million. How did he become that rich? By representing majority black folks in the 9th Congressional District. And you trying to figure out how you gonna rub these two nickels together. You're trying to make $1, but you're only getting 15 cents. But somebody sits in a chair. And think about politics and the people. How many people have died in office because of the power and the greed and the money that they didn't want nobody else in there because they wanted to get the money until the day they died. You go into Congress, how many Congress people have died? They had to wheel them out of there because the power and the money and the prestige was so important that they didn't want to move out the way and let someone to come in that was able and healthy enough to represent the people. Some stayed as long as they got Alzheimer's. Some are in there can't even finish their thoughts. Some are in there shaking so bad you think they got Parkinson's disease. But they're there because of that money and the prestige. Time is up. You need to send a message that say your time is up. It's time for you to go somewhere and sit down. You done managed to get $10 million out of representing the people in this district. It's time for you to go. And I would like to hear somebody tell me, well, he took this and did that and he invested in this and that. Okay. How did he invest that? What information did he have or she had to end up with that type of money? And the poor black people in the district think he's doing a good job, but what is the job he's doing? Well, I just know he's doing a good job. They grow, please. Are you that stupid? Are you stuck on stupid to the point that you don't realize what's taking place? But you just say he's doing a good job. Yes, sir, he's doing a good job. I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep calling it out because it needs to be called out. People need to know. And you need to know better so you can do better. And then you get these people who talk to you and try to convince you that what these people are doing is right because they're getting them little crumbs that fall from the table from what the rich man has given them to go into your community and convince you and buy you to put them back in office because they have an agenda. They got nonprofits that they want to turn the hotel over to. The city want to buy it, but they're using the city bond money or money to get it, but then they're going to turn it over to a nonprofit. What sense does that make? If you want to be in the hotel business, then you be in the hotel business. But you don't buy a hotel and then turn it over to a nonprofit. Find out who and what nonprofit and see what connection that the nonprofit have with the politics and the politician. You gotta think. You gotta pay attention and be ye not afraid to speak up. You know, being afraid of things left me a long time ago. I'm reminded of a scripture. Say, any man that born of a woman has but a short time to live. He comes up like a flower, continues, and one day it stays. But in the midst of life, we are in death. So once you get over that and understand that, then you can stand up and do what's necessary. Grandmother used to say, the life winding chain is winding up on all of us. And then that same thing said, only what you do for Christ will last. But you are too afraid to go into a booth and vote for the right people that's going to stand up and do the right thing for you. I'm Jennings Bernard, and I do appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this program. I'm lining up the guests. Some are now saying that they want to come on and be a part of the show, and I thank you for that. Last month we had over 57, right at 58,000 people, one way or the other, whether they was around in Memphis and outside of Memphis, they look at it and I appreciate it. Remember to go to memphisrealtalk.com and look at what we are doing, what we finna provide for you. And while you're at memphisrealtalk.com, push the donation button, no matter how small or how large, to help us continue to do and build and do what we want to do for you. And while you're looking at me on Facebook, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends and neighbors to do the same. And we'll be moving on up. And we're going to make the thing different for you in this community. In the words of my grandmother, she always said, if it's the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. And remember what I said. Trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside of them. Take care. Peace.